Hi, Aquarius. Happy Taurus season. So, I know that sometimes for you, you build yourself up before you can express an emotion. You wait until like it becomes conceptualized almost to you, so that you have the full feeling and the accurate direction in which you want to take it. And what I mean by that is, even if it's just something you're feeling and something you need to express, you will then inherently express it to the person you need to express it to. What happens when you don't is it can tend to be like blowing smoke. Because you know what's being portrayed to you isn't exactly what it seems, isn't exactly how it's being portrayed. There's a certain filter that, if tended to too much or focused on too much, an outcome or conclusion or a goal can become almost unrealistic for what in fact a concept is meant to be. Something where someone sees differently. There's layers to a concept. There's layers to any story. There's different sides. There's different sides to, again, a concept. So in Taurus season, to me, every sign is moving even more with more awareness through their whatever's being evolved in a natural intelligence way, the Taurus way, which comes with sometimes a view that needs to be moved through. This is basically moving through the fog with your purpose. And that could be like the end of this reading. But the fog that you're seeing, the smoke, it's like smoke and mirrors. So the only thing that's going to move you through that is your heart and is the passion that you feel. And connecting it to why. The how is like the concept. So the how is like, you can do that many different ways. So if there is a Cancer in your life as well, then they're ready. They're in a great place right now to move forward on things. Just be careful. Again, that why, being rooted down, being grounded with this endeavor is important. And what I mean by that is that for some of you, it just could be the deeper belief and trust in yourself and trust in your path, because the Chariot is also about your life path. So the Fool is ready. And because of this read also, it's about maybe even emotionally. There's something you might need to be, those feelings that you've been feeling, you might need to share them with someone that you value. But in return, if you value them, shouldn't they, oughtn't, is it not that they don't value you? Or is it just like that build up before you actually do something or say something? Because it's, according to the cards, it's going to be received rather well. It seems like it will be an ongoing communication and even a mutual feeling. This could be with a Scorpio. This could also be exactly the catalyst that takes you through the smoke. That by saying this, which is essentially, not innately, essentially what I've been saying is that what I've been reading is that when you act upon this trust, you move through things and it causes a serious rebirth. And it's the rebirth that we've been talking about, so it's not like it's new, it just causes you to conceptualize. Everything kind of comes full circle in the sense of like what you need to do and what needs to go into it being done. 7 of Wands, 7 of Swords, 5 of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles. So as you move through this, what can arise is asking you to be more sure of yourself. So that's essentially the question that's being asked, is how much do you trust yourself to be sure of yourself as you move through this very uncomfortable moment in your life that is Taurus season? It's like what we can perceive a flower, a bud beginning to bloom to be a few moments is really so much longer for that flower, so much longer of a process. So if you're the flower in the situation and you've been growing this root and these stems, and if the fruit is the flower and what comes from it, you've been working on this thing for a long time. So naturally you don't want to just fuck it and go, which is what you will be doing, or what you can do. What you can do, if you have a deeper sense and the root is grounded even more, so if you have a deeper sense of why, this will then become more obvious to you. And when you come up against those obstacles that this can bring up, and it could be from a past relationship or something that you just got out of probably a few months ago, 6 months ago. So this could have been the Scorpio new full moon too that really brought this full circle and all the way out. Is just that you needed this last piece of information before fully blooming. It's like that final beat of the sun before the petals begin to flower, or that last whatever signals it to start going. That's where you're at. And some say whatever they say. I think it's important to end something aligned with the way you're beginning something. So whatever way you need to end what's causing this smoke, to move forward into this next direction, the way through, I think I want you to ask yourself is how much you value yourself as you move through this. Because it'll become very clear to you as you make the steps, right? Because if you don't, the smoke will just grow, and instead of becoming clear, you'll just be in this big old fog. I think there's a few cartoons, but in Avatar there's that, if you ever seen the Avatar series, The Last Airbender, there's this part where lost souls go, basically, and they get caught in this fog, and you can get infected too. So what is important right now is meeting your heart and following through with that before you can finish conceptualizing. So it's being in the creative seat, being the creator, the artist, and really moving through. You need to create in order to move through. So you need to create your world, have the communication, have the discussion with yourself, with these people, maybe this Aries, which we'll get into the extended, or this Scorpio. I do feel, however, or I do see, however, that this all begins with the way you decide to process. And just know that by the end of the month, the concept will come all the way around, as long as you move through it. Those are the words. Okay, I'm really glad I did this today. Happy Taurus season. We'll look at the second part, which you'll see, so hopefully it will become clear for you. And then check back for the link for Patreon for the extended reading, which I will go through and clarify all of these with some of the cards, if not all of them. It's not normally that long because it kind of just comes out of me, but I'm going to try my best to spend a little bit more time. They can be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes right now, but so I'm going to start spending a little bit more time on them, but I can't promise anything because it just kind of comes through me, as you may know. And I will also link my website below if you want to book a reading one-on-one. I also want to apologize for my nails because I just kind of wanted to get it done, so they are a little janky. So I hope that you have a great rest of your Taurus season, and I'll see you next month, Aquarius. I love you. Okay, so first of all, thank you for your patience for this video. It couldn't have come out until now, and that's the process that I go with. I noticed that I'm learning things as I'm showing them to you in the cards sometimes. It's the perks of being an air sign, as you may know. So my own mental fog to a certain extent. Insert sips coffee. Okay, so coming into this season, you may have felt a lot of background noise. A lot of, where am I actually going? Or starting to question that. Like, where am I actually going? What am I actually doing? What is actually happening? Life is changing. Yeah. If you were an Aquarius who has put their first foot forward, or had started the step forward back, I think in November, when we started to talk about like the grid and seeing everything. And you need that. Like, again, the conceptualization, you need that concept before you fully move on something, because for you, or for those of you that relate to this part of you, again, not knowing who's watching Aquarius Moon Rising, this is more for Aquarius Suns especially, and Rising, to understand. And Moons, this relates to a different part of you. So this concept that you do it's also a beautiful business plan. It's a beautiful way of, and a very intelligent way of thinking of something. Although it can keep you in a mental fog because timing, because concepts can be perceived different ways when you're feeling a certain way or going through whatever healing you're going through, or whatever just life just happening. So whatever you're going through in any type of way can change your perspective on something. And so for you, getting through that fog, you need the heart to use your voice, the Venus in Cancer, still Venus just moved in, or Mercury just moved from Cancer to Gemini. And then we also had we have Mars in Cancer still. So this Cancerian, although not very relatable to you in many ways, is also showing you that even if you say something messy, or if you say something and need to figure it out along the way, that's another way to bring the concept into life, is to start and know that even if you created this certain concept, it could change. That no matter what, even if it looks like a pretty bow before you start, it's still going to look like one when you end, quote unquote, if and when you ever end this adventure or this concept, depending on who you become. So through this realization, through this fog, you could be really coming into a solid plan. And this also helps your home life. The Scorpio full moon brought up a lot about what the past and what certain things have taken for you. Pluto also moving as well, going retrograde, can bring up a lot of healing of your worth especially. And this is something that you might even could even relate to last Scorpio season, so November. What is beginning to transpire is this deepening of this connection of what's happening in your inside world and your outside world. Right? You're the sign that people considered most with disassociation. And we all do it to an extent. So yours just projects it more, your sign, which is needed, right? To a certain extent. Now you need to let yourself feel and grieve, because this new way is happening and it's amazing. I hope that you're proud of yourself. I hope that you see so much growth, because these things tend to come up, especially when you need to become the person that you need to be in these situations as well. So it starts to seep into every area of life, right? And for you, it needs to look a certain way so that you can understand yourself and understand what you're doing. That's also a very similar idea to conceptualizing things. It helps you stay aware, it helps you remain concise, clear, and that's okay. So whatever that process is for you, this month will definitely be aiding in that process, And so, yeah, it might feel a little shaky, but just know that you have all you need, and that you've had a lot come to light, and now it's time to bring in the medicine, baby. Okay. So, information, my website is below to work with me one-on-one. The Patreon link will be up today as well. So, yeah, just check back for that link. It might not be up until after this video. And then my Instagram link's below too, and more to come. But happy Taurus season, and we'll see you next month. Love you, Aquarius.